Welcome to Fraud Friday. I'm Bob Coleman, and we're talking fraud. Bankers, public officials, and borrowers got caught. Lance Sexton, Delaney Sexton. Hey, there's a certificate. Download that for training. Kris Roglieri update. Last I heard, our fraudster who is charged with anywhere from $68 million to over $100 million worth of fraud, whereas a lender, he would take deposits and spend it on some really nice stuff. Delaney, last I heard, he was sitting in a New York County jail. What's the update?
Yeah, and I'm sure they wish the get out of jail free card was real.
Full monopoly.
Currently, his attorney was seeking a new detention hearing, hoping he could be released from jail. When that happened, they sent some character reference letters from his friends and family, including his current girlfriend, his former girlfriend, his brother, his former criminal defense attorney, and his cousin. They're arguing he's not being charged with a violent crime. He has no previous criminal history. And his former attorney said the unfortunate texts he wrote, which had been construed as threats against others, were a surprise to me. He has no criminal background, and I never heard him voice one adverse comment about an agent or government official. He frequently vented about the injustice of losing all of his assets.
Construed as threats. Lance, Lance, you are not the forensic linguist in your families, but I'm going to start with you.
I'm just basic, Bob, but the one thing I would say about this, you had a guy who was living large, very successful, living large, fast cars, big homes, beautiful girlfriends, just living large, and all of a sudden it got all taken away from him. So, not surprised by the texts and the threats because he's losing it all.
Absolutely. It's sad. It's sad. And it's sad. Well, it's sad for him. But Lance, we have talked to people who worked for him who have lost their jobs.
Oh, yeah.
And we've talked to people who almost got ripped off by him. And by the grace of a good counsel said, no, we're not going to sign this agreement because he has access to the deposit. He can do whatever he wants. And sadly, that 68 to $100 million did not materialize out of thin air. Those are real people's money for real projects. The egg production facility, I believe, in Minnesota, which does what, Lance? It builds it. It's a project that hires people to build it and then hires people to run it.
Well, and that's the unfortunate thing. Early on when we first started reporting about Kris, I think I mentioned the fact that there are real people that are losing jobs. There are real organizations that are taking losses. Yeah. And irregardless of how you feel about Kris, whether you like him, don't like him, there are many people that got impacted in a significant way here.
I will say, Kris, I like Kris. Kris is a likable guy. He's very charismatic. Everyone liked him. I mean, that's not, but, and it's unfortunate, as he said, he's sitting in jail. He's lost everything. And in today's society, you don't have access to your cell phone and you don't have access to TV, I guess, in a community room, or you can get one in your cell. But I know that in his case, the jail monitors what he is viewing. So it's a sad case all around. Delaney, the government said, no, we don't want this to happen. What is the status as of August 2nd, 2024?
Well, I'll have to run through this really quickly because there's been some back and forth. Of course, as you said, the federal prosecutors were not interested in releasing him from jail. When searched his property, they found collectible guns, an AR-15 style assault rifle, an oversized ammunition magazine. He still has 2 felony state weapons charges that are pending. So they don't want a new detention hearing. They're also saying there was no new information. And Larry Rulinson over at Times Union reported that some of the government's potentially more explosive reasons for keeping Roglieri in jail were redacted from the public version of the letter. But the prosecutors wrote the evidence submitted by the defendant should not change his court's analysis of the danger he presents. In fact, there is new evidence that not only underscores the court's concerns, but adds another ground for detention.
He's not getting out. He's not going.
No.
Well, they haven't given up yet, though. Roglieri's
Well, that's what
attorney is
attorneys
making
are
a.
supposed to do, and I am all
Yeah.
for an justice system, all for an advocate. As I said, I know Kris. I like him. I've met him. Lance, we all like
I
him.
have too.
And I'll be the first to say, Kris, unfortunately, that's where you got to be right now.
Well, and I'm just I live in a part of the country where there are people who collect guns, and you know, why do you need an AR-15? That's my big question. I mean, I know, but I'm just like, why would a banker or BDO, a professional, need an AR-15? So
the same reason you need a $300,000 Lamborghini. It's status and yeah.
I need one, Bob, but unfortunately, I drive a Toyota Tacoma.
Well, you're also a banker.
His attorneys did make a second attempt for release. They said that there was actually more information that came to light that was unavailable at the original detention hearing. They also pointed out that the federal prosecutors weren't as worried about Roglieri resorting to violence before his arrest. They're saying that the prosecutors were aware of the threats against the FBI agent 7 days before his arrest, and instead of immediately arresting him, they continued to work for an entire week. Additionally, there was a letter that Roglieri had written in January as a form of self-therapy. They're not sure prosecutors are using it against him in the case or if it would help Roglieri, but it appears to be pretty sensitive information since it is sealed.
Yeah, that doesn't. I'm not.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not the forensics linguistics that Delaney will be in a couple of years. So I don't know what self-therapy means, Delaney, but that can't be good.
Yeah, I guess hopefully we'll see it unsealed one day. The last update is that the Saratoga Automobile Museum agreed to help with auctioning off some or all of Roglieri's assets. Now, it seems like they intend to sell off his assets through several auction sales, but right now a bankruptcy judge needs to approve the deal between the Chapter 7 bankruptcy trustee and the museum's executive director. They're going to sell a range of his collectible cars, along with, I think it's 3 cars, his art, a watch, and his gun collection. And they're saying that alone could pay for his debts twice over. So that's what he has.
The watch alone, help me out. What is the brand?
Oh boy, I cannot
Philippe
tell you the
Patek,
name of that wristwatch. There was like 10 different words in there.
But it was a 7-figure wristwatch. Yes. So,
yeah.
Assuming it's real, and unfortunately, in these circles, there's a lot of fraudulent. You know, when you're dealing with criminals. Sorry, Kris, alleged criminal. Other people take advantage of you. So I hope for the debtor's sake, the watch is real. Well, very good. Excellent reporting, Delaney. Thank you very much for joining us today for Fraud Friday, so you can stop criminals from stealing from your bank.
Have a good weekend.
Friday.